Yes, good afternoon, class. I hope you are doing well at your place. Now, in Transportation Engineering Practical course, CEP353, different practicals you have to perform on the construction materials, highway construction materials, right? So, as discussed in the class theory portion, different materials that we are using for construction of road are typically aggregates, bitumen, soil, right? Bottommost layer of the pavement, no matter it is a flexible or a rigid pavement, it is soil substrate, right? So ultimately we are resting our pavement on the soil substrate only. So it is very essential for us to know the strength of that soil subgrade, right? So for that we have to go for California bearing ratio, right? Then another test is to classify the soil, and for that we go for or we follow OSHO soil classification system to categorize soil in a particular group, right? Sometime on the field it becomes necessary for you to improve the quality of the soil, right? Say if the strength of the soil is on lower side, the CBR value is very less, right? In that case you need to improve the property of the soil subgrade by giving some treatment, right? So typically the treatment is given is called stabilization, right? Subgrade stabilization. So third exercise for soil subgrade will be on test which you have to perform on treated soil, that is stabilized soil. So these three practicals you have to perform in this transportation engineering practical course on soil. Then comes the aggregate, right? Aggregate is a major constituent of pavement, right? So we need to examine the aggregate which we are or we have to use for road construction, right? Thoroughly. So different practicals that we need to perform on aggregate are specific gravity, moisture content of the aggregate, moisture content determination for the aggregate. Second, to know the crushing strength of the aggregate. Third is to find out impact value of the aggregate. And last, fourth is to know abrasion value of the aggregate, right? So different types of forces, loads are coming on the aggregate during the service of pavement. So for all three types of load, right, you have to go for testing, right? You have to go for testing of aggregate, right? Impact load is a sudden massive application of load, okay, whose duration is small but the magnitude of load is high. That type of loading is probably due to sudden application of brake or collision of the vehicles, right? Accident of the vehicles coming from opposite direction or on the same line, same lane, right? Second is static load or dead pressure of the load or sustained load of the vehicle, which ultimately pavement has to bear. So for that loading also we have to design the we have to test the aggregate. Third is due to continuous movement of the vehicle over the pavement surface, the road is the tires are in continuous contact with the pavement surface, right? And because of that wear and tear is possible in case of aggregate. So I have to understand, I have to see that how much wear and tear is possible due to such type of loading. So for that aberration value I have to examine. Okay. So these are the 4 basic practicals which I need to perform on the aggregate. Now third is test on bitumen, right? Because in case of flexible road pavement, I had to use bitumen as the binder, right? So I had to find out its consistency, its properties, right? So different tests that I need to perform on the bitumen are penetration test on bitumen, softening point test on bitumen, flash and fire point on bitumen, ductility test on bitumen, right? So this time we have added one more practical called specific gravity of bitumen, right? Earlier, for earlier batches this practical was not there, but for your batch we have intentionally incorporated this practical, right? Now in the fourth part of the practical we have suggested some experiments, right, wherein we will ask you to go for bituminous mix design, right? We ask you to go for study of road construction machineries, right, and stripling test on the bituminous mix. Now this is important from field application point of view, so we have added these 3 experiments. So all 3 are study, but though it is study, important for you to understand. You must have or you must know these things, right? So in addition to this, since we have good software for traffic engineering, so we want to have a introduction type of exercise. We are proposing an introduction type of exercise wherein my student must be get acquainted. Intention is to have awareness about the traffic engineering software. So introduction to traffic engineering software we have proposed in this particular. Okay. So this is in brief about the different exercises that are involved in this semester, right, as partial fulfillment of this practical course CEP353 Transportation Engineering of 5th semester BE Civil. Okay. So in the first part today I will brief you about the different tests that we perform on the aggregate. Then once we finished with aggregate, I will go for testing on soil, right? After that testing on bitumen I will cover, then study experiment you have to do, and I will give you demo of transportation engineering software which we have, or traffic engineering software which we have in our laboratory, right? So in coming 4 to 6 sessions or max 8 sessions I will try to cover all this, right? So after every practical, after every demo of practical, what I will expect is on very next one I will take small test, right, basic test on that practical, and I am expecting you to answer all the questions based on that particular test, right? So please be attentive, try to understand the test at any point of time. If you find any difficulty, you are always free to ask questions, right? Clear? So now I will start the demo on testing of aggregates. Then I will cover in that I will cover first crushing value test, impact value test, and aberration value test. Now see, whatever testing we have to do, we have to follow the guidelines of IS as well as IRC, right? So for testing aggregate, IS 2386 guidelines we have to follow. We have to adhere to that guideline, right? As far as soil is concerned, we have to use IS 2720 for CBR test. For ASHO code we need to use, right? And for stabilized purpose, since we have to go for CBR test and UCS test, we have to again go for IS code only 2720. Okay. Now as far as this is about the code, usage of code, right? So try to maintain the soft copies of these codes. These codes are available freely on the net. Please download and maintain the soft copy of these codes with you, right? So this will help you in understanding the procedure and conduction of the practical, right? I will stop here and I will immediately start the testing demo on testing of aggregates. Thank you.